Hello, my name is Dominic Papalia and I'm a team member of Team 1 in Tuesday morning lecture. In our ethics audit, we looked at the firms PricewaterhouseCoopers, Hines, and Reed Smith. Joe gives us an in-depth look at PricewaterhouseCoopers, while Megan does the same for Hines and Greg looks at Reed Smith. After that, I'll be back on to compare and contrast all three firms and give you some final thoughts. But now, you will hear from Joe about PricewaterhouseCoopers.
As a subgroup, Greg and I had the privilege of conducting an ethical audit for PricewaterhouseCoopers. To provide a brief overview of PricewaterhouseCoopers, they are more commonly known as PwC. PricewaterhouseCoopers is located on Grant Street, Millville, PA. They are well known for the accounting services they provide and are amongst the Big Four globally. PricewaterhouseCoopers headquarters are located in London. An employee who aided us tremendously in completing the audit was Nancy Dilfey. She is the campus sourcing manager for PwC's Grant Street location in Millville. At PwC, they implement a strict code of conduct and ethical policies for all employees and business leaders to follow. PwC's code of conduct defines how employees and business leaders should behave and conduct business in a wide range of settings and situations. The framework for ethics decision-making supplements the code and will help them resolve issues. The code of conduct and ethics policies are distributed and used widely throughout the organization. At PwC, all employees are expected to follow the company's code of conduct, and they need to encourage other employees to follow the code of conduct as well. PwC wants to instill that the managers are not immune to anything by implementing the same punishments to all employees within the company. The code of conduct also states that people are encouraged to voice their concerns if they think something is not right. This shows that PwC has a very strong organizational culture and that everyone sings the same tune. Additionally, the top level of management in PwC tries to instill beliefs that everyone should be treated equally in the company. The performance management system supports the organization's ethical conduct to the fullest. Ethical means as well as ends are important in performance management systems. PwC does this by 1. Delivering professional services in accordance with PwC's policies and relevant technical and professional standards. 2. Meeting contractual obligations and report and charge honestly for their services. 3. Respect the confidentiality and privacy of their customers. And 4. It is unacceptable for anyone in the organization to accept, offer, and promise or pay bribes. PricewaterhouseCoopers is not a Machiavellian company. They have a high standard for their company, and they want for all of their employees to uphold these standards anytime that they do business. They manage to do this by having their employees follow a list of recommendations prior to when they make decisions. They believe that employees are representing the company all the time, and that when they make a mistake, it is as if the company made a mistake. The steps go as follows. 1. Recognize the event, decision, or issue. 2. Think before you act. 3. Decide a course of action. 4. Test your decision. And 5. Proceed with confidence. Ethical considerations are absolutely a part of meeting and policy reports. PwC follows a value-based system to implement their policies. Obviously, they comply to the rules and laws, but they acknowledge that just following rules is not enough and that their clients expect more than just financial implications. There is no formal committee that actually decides punishments for violation, as the management will generally take these issues into account. PwC's image, honesty, and integrity really show through their workers and help to maintain a very strong ethical culture. Next, I'd like to discuss misconduct and actions taken within PwC if misconduct does happen to take place. PwC encourages employees to report and express their concerns and must do so fairly, honestly, and respectfully. PwC is committed to protecting individuals against retaliation. This company ensures that their employees will always be safe from the whistleblowing reputation and that the management clearly cares about their workers' safety. People in the reporting line are responsible for addressing issues that are brought to their attention. Those who violate the code of PricewaterhouseCoopers policies and procedures will be subject to disciplinary actions, including possible dismissal. These will also apply to anyone who directs or approves infractions or has knowledge of them and does not promptly move to correct them. Although PricewaterhouseCoopers has a strong code of conduct and ethics policies, we were disappointed to find there is not a formal orientation in place for new employees and business leaders. As a suggestion, we feel having a formal orientation system would help new employees and business leaders fill their new roles more easily. Finally, to wrap up the discussion on PwC, I'd like to talk about their corporate social responsibility quickly. For example, they express support for fundamental human rights and avoid participating in business activities that abuse human rights. Also, PricewaterhouseCoopers encourages the support of charitable, educational, and community service activities. Next, Megan will provide her analysis of Heinz.
Thank you, Joe. As he said, I'm Megan, and Ruchi and I did an ethics audit on Heinz. Heinz is a food company most known for their ketchup. Their headquarters is located in Pittsburgh, and we are fortunate enough to meet with the Heinz Foundation and Community Relationship Manager, Janice Upton, to discuss Heinz ethical culture. Janice used to work in the Heinz Compliance Department before her current position and was very knowledgeable about the topic. From our audit, we found that Heinz had done a good job of implementing strong ethical values within the company. This is done by making sure employees know the standards in which they're expected to uphold from the start of their employment. They also make sure to tailor interview questions around ethics to ensure that possible hires match up with Heinz expectations. After employees hired, they are to complete an orientation in which they are made aware of the code of conduct and given time to review it before signing it. It is given to everyone throughout the company and even globally to create alignment. From then, there are constant reminders and easy access to information regarding the company's ethics code. Last fall, there was an entire month devoted to ethics and compliance where there were tips available each day to inspire employees. In addition, every quarter there's a training required for everyone in the company to complete regarding the company's code of conduct, including the CEO. Each time the training is given, the topic is different to keep the code fresh in everyone's minds, and employees must get 100% by a certain date. There is also Heinz Academy classes in which managers can sign up to learn more about a variety of different topics. One of these topics can be ethics, and training will generally last the whole day. While Heinz doesn't have a formal ethics department, they have a law team set up to deal with problems. Attorneys are responsible for reviewing the code of conduct on a regular basis. Any changes are approved by the CEO and communicated with all employees. One thing Janice emphasized in our interview was the seriousness Heinz places on breaks in their code of ethics. They want any misconduct to be addressed as soon as possible at every level. If any employees are aware of ethical misconduct, they are required to report it to their supervisor, the anonymous hotline, or the legal department. If they are found to be sitting on the information, they can get in trouble as well. Employees are made as comfortable as possible about reporting problems by providing an anonymous hotline. Anything reported to the hotline goes straight to the law office, where it is then launched into a full investigation. Since Janice worked in the compliance department before, she knew a lot about the investigation process. She said that these investigations were as thorough as if they were going to court. It is important to not only do this to prevent lawsuits, but also because someone's job could be on the line. One minor suggestion that we did have was to have a section on how to deal with ethical dilemma on the company portal available to employees. The signs in the copy room regarding this were very small and hard to read. Employees may also feel uncomfortable looking at it and trying to read it in such a public space if they are trying to keep their identity confidential. By integrating ethics into everything, Heinz demonstrates a strong company culture. This extends to their suppliers as well. When vetting suppliers, they make sure their practices are in line with Heinz ethical standards. They do this not only to protect their brand, but to ensure product safety to their customers as well. Being in the food industry, this is of the utmost importance. Based on our research, we concluded that Heinz is fulfilling their corporate duty not only to their employees, but to the public as well. And now I'll be turning it over to Greg.
Thank you, Megan, for talking about Heinz's CSR policy and their ethical policy. Now, we interviewed Reed Smith for our ethical project, and they are headquartered right here in Pittsburgh, and they have other offices in Ohio and in eastern Pennsylvania. Now, the man I interviewed was Ed Fochtman, who is an attorney at law, and he is a part of the ethical department. And he told me a lot of interesting facts about the company. One of which is that they have not one but two codes of conduct that they follow. One is specifically for the company and its rules and values that they believe are very important, and the other is a code of conduct that all employees in the state of Pennsylvania, or all lawyers in the state of Pennsylvania, need to follow. and and trying to apply and trying to abide by this ethical agenda is the most important thing. It's more important to them than practicing law because they want to make sure that their employees uphold the standards that top management sets for them. And they will dole out promotions and punishments within how they follow these policies. Promotions within the company obviously are somewhat based off of the quality of work that you produce, but it's also based off of how well you work as a team, how honest you are, how much you improve, how innovative you are, and other traits like that. And they believe that people who can follow that can be a very good leader to the company, and it shows that they don't only care about how good of a lawyer you are or how many cases you won, and it shows that they aren't a Machiavellian type of company. So Reed Smith also wants to know when their employees don't follow their code of conduct, and they do this with a method in which they will have people leave anonymous tips so they avoid the whistleblower reputation, and also so they are safe and they won't be threatened by people. And there is an ethics committee that will decide punishments accordingly based on the infractions, and it can range anywhere from just being warned to being put on probation, or in some really dire cases, maybe even being fired or losing your license. Now, something else that they do in order to avoid some of these infractions and violations is they have new orientation programs for their employees so they can follow the code of conduct and so they can get assimilated to the culture a little bit easier. And doing this is a very smart idea, and it shows that they want for everyone to sing the same tune and for everyone to be on the same page. Now, there's many good things about their policy, but one thing that I would like to see them do is help out in the community a little bit more. They don't really do many charitable organizations, and it would be very smart of them if they were to do so. So next, Dom will talk about comparing and contrasting the Reed Smith law firm with the accounting firm PwC and with Hines. Thank you.
Now that you have heard about all three of the firms at which we've looked, now we will compare and contrast them. First, all three of the firms have their own codes of conduct or ethics policies. Throughout all business, every firm should have a well-developed ethics code. Hines has a required ethics training every quarter to keep the policies in minds of the employees. From the research we gathered, neither of the other companies do that, which we recommend they do so. Each of the other firms has their own version of a committee that makes decisions about the consequences if the policies are broken. PwC made it clear that the punishment for breaking ethics policies is equal throughout the company, even up through top management. According to what we gathered, Reed Smith and Hines both have anonymous hotlines that the employees can call if they're suspicious of unethical behavior. PwC should add that to their ethics policies. I'm going to give a few final thoughts before we wrap this up. One is that we believe that the three firms do an overall good job of maintaining their ethics policies. We believe that one thing that all companies should do so that ethics never becomes a problem is getting their employees and top management to ethics training. Ethics training is very important, and even if it is as little as once a year, that training is still better than nothing. As I previously mentioned, all of the companies have their own types of ethics committees, which is something that all companies should have. Also, every company should have an anonymous tip line that goes right to that ethics committee that I just spoke about so that people are more comfortable reporting unethical behavior. One last comment that I have for any organization is that every employee should receive a physical copy of the ethics policy right when they first get hired so that they can read it and are aware that it is very important. Finally, I would like to thank the people from PricewaterhouseCoopers, Hines, and Reed Smith for cooperating and participating in our ethics audit. I hope everyone learned something and enjoyed our audit. Thanks.